Can due process violations overturn a criminal conviction? Imagine sitting in a courtroom, confident that justice is being served, only to find out later that your rights were ignored or violated. Would that mean your conviction might not be final? In the world of criminal law, due process is a key part of protecting your rights. It is a guarantee from the United States Constitution, mainly under the 14th Amendment, that ensures fair treatment during legal proceedings. When these rights are ignored or broken, it can sometimes lead to overturning a criminal conviction. One common violation is when prosecutors withhold evidence that could help the defense. This is called a Brady violation. If the prosecution fails to share evidence that could prove innocence or reduce guilt, it breaches due process and can be grounds for a new trial or even dismissing the case. Another violation occurs when a defense lawyer does a poor job. If the lawyer's performance is so bad that it deprives the defendant of a fair trial, this can be challenged. The defendant must show that the lawyer's mistakes were unreasonable and that those mistakes affected the trial's outcome. Improperly admitting evidence also violates due process. For example, if the court allows character evidence or other inadmissible material that biases the jury unfairly, it can be grounds for overturning the conviction. If the prosecution shifts the burden of proof onto the defendant, that is another violation. The law requires the government to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. If the judge allows the prosecution to make the defendant prove innocence, it breaches due process rights. Sentencing issues can also be challenged. For instance, punishing a defendant for exercising their right to appeal or imposing a harsher sentence without proper justification violates due process. From a criminal defense perspective, these violations are serious safeguards. Defense attorneys look for breaches to protect their clients' rights. When they find a violation that impacted the trial, they can file post-conviction motions or appeals. Courts review these motions to see if the violation was significant enough to have affected the trial's fairness. If it was, the court may overturn the conviction, order a new trial, or modify the sentence. In the end, due process violations strike at the heart of a fair legal system. When proven, they serve as a legal reason to reverse wrongful convictions and correct injustices. This is why protecting your constitutional rights is so important in criminal cases.